I'm Lloyd's House. I make kind of lo-fi pop music in Glasgow. This is a song called I'm Too Cold from my first EP that I released in January last year on Corkscrew Records. It was written on bass, actually, which is the same as like almost all the music I have out right now, because I don't usually play an acoustic guitar, so it might sound a bit different, but I think it'll sound good anyway, so hope you enjoy. I'm too cold. You never know if the sun will rise again. Why won't you let me in? How far can you go? Until the cold sets in, it's over now. You said it so. Too bad you'll never know. Nobody move, there's someone on the floor. So sad to see them go, but I'll move on. You could only dream for someone to tell you no. I will leave this place and throw it all away. You and me, we could be the hardest thing you've ever seen. You could treat me really mean and make me feel like I'm used to it, 'cause oh, it grows and grows. Oh, it grows and grows. Nobody move, there's someone on the floor. So sad to see them go, but I'll move on. You could only dream for someone to tell you no. I will leave this place and throw it all away. So Lloyd's House is my solo project. All of the songs up until now pretty much are written by me, and the music I've released so far has all been pretty much produced by me, bar mastering, which was done by Jason Shaw and most of it. But my music's quite, I guess from what you can find online, it's very lo-fi pop orientated. So there's a lot of, crashy drums, very saturated bass, and a lot of like experimental vocals and things like that. I think for me, Lloyd's House has always been a project where like I've wanted to explore just like different sounds and see what I can do on a laptop and just push things and see what happens basically. Because I feel like in the past I felt a bit confined by other bands, and I haven't really been able to like fully just have like creative control over something. So yeah, Lloyd's House takes a lot of inspiration from people like Alex G, Elvis Depressedly, people who sort of look at pop in a different light, I suppose, and kind of change certain aspects of it so that you know, it's not just like a generic pop track that you'd hear on the radio, I guess. Um, but yeah, I guess that's how I describe Lloyd's House. Yeah, so I started playing bass when I was like 17, because all my pals were learning how to play guitar, and I was like, I really don't want to learn guitar because it's not cool now. So I bought a wee cheap bass off a Gumtree, and just started learning like chic songs, like Nile Rodgers kind of stuff. Um, and then I had no intention of like being in a band or anything, and then I moved to Glasgow, and my pal was like, "Do you want to be in a band?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." And then I just started playing bass for a while. And then it was only until like maybe 2019 or so that I started just writing songs on bass. Because I didn't have a guitar at the time. And I knew I wanted to just write some songs because I had quite a few ideas. So I just put like a capo on my bass and like tune it to something else, or just, you know, mess around and play chords and stuff, and write songs that way. And I always had the intention of like, you know, writing it on the bass and then figuring out how to play it on guitar and then recording it and, you know, doing it through that process, which like initially just took so much time. And at the time I was just really bad at guitar as well. Like it's not really my main instrument, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep the songs on bass and just record them like that and see what happens. And so the first EP I released, We Could Be Friends, um, that's all bass as well. Um, and so a lot of like the higher parts in the songs and in the mixes are just like with the capo higher up on the bass or just playing really high up, and then the main kind of rhythm section will just be chords, and then there's also like a actual bass line, and then just whatever crazy sounds I can get out of pedals and effects that I've found off dodgy websites, um, and a lot of auto tune and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that's how that kind of started. And then when I decided I wanted to release an album, um, again I was like, oh, maybe I'll write some more guitar stuff. I even got these like piccolo strings from a bass, which are supposed to be like guitar strings but for a bass. And I was like, oh yeah, that'll be cool. Then I can just play my bass and it'll sound like a guitar. And I hated it as well. So I took those off, went straight back to the bass, and just wrote an album on the bass again. But the album's a lot more eccentric and a lot more experimental in terms of like, you know, it doesn't sound like it's just bass. There's a lot more synth and electronic sort of influence sounds. So yeah. So yeah, like the way things have worked recently have been like to play gigs. I have a live band with me, and so I didn't really want to be playing bass as the front man. Um, Not for any reason really. It's just like I decided that I wanted to get something like a guitar or something like that, just to start writing songs on that. Just to kind of, you know, move away from bass a little bit and see what happens. Um, and so in the live band, I play a baritone guitar. So it's still quite bassy and deep, um, but it allows me to do a lot more now. Um, and so the only issues I've had really is just, you know, figuring out how to play those songs on a guitar instead of a bass. But with the baritone, I usually play a lot of the songs with the capo on the fifth fret, and it basically turns it into a guitar again. So I guess it's just getting used to like having those two extra strings, um, and figuring out what extra notes need to be played or like what doesn't need to be played, I guess. And yeah, just getting used to playing guitar. But the hard thing was like I never really play acoustic guitar at all. So I guess it's just getting used to that sort of thing, because I was gonna planning on playing a couple of tunes from the album that just don't work on acoustic guitar because they're so high up. Like I'll start playing it and get to like the 12th fret on the acoustic and can't go any further. I'm like, right, okay. Um, so yeah, I kind of had to be a bit selective with that, but it was kind of fun because it like definitely forced me to think about like how I play and how I write songs a bit more. And it's also fun to hear how they sound in that setting, because I'm so used to hearing it as like a full band or through an amp with a lot of effects, or you know, through my laptop with something I've recorded. So yeah, it was definitely a an interesting experience. This song is called "Count Your Lucky Stars," and it's from the debut self-titled album. from last year. It was released in December on Corkscrew Records as well. And this is I believe the third track on the album. Count your lucky stars while they're falling away. I wear the same clothes every day. I smell like shit and I forgot who to pay. Piss on my grave and give it to me anyway. So your lucky stars, he can tell. You may as well, far as you can go. You better run, 'cause I'm no fun. Count your lucky stars while they're falling away. I wear the same clothes every day. I smell like shit and I forgot who to pay. Piss on my grave and give it to me anyway. So your lucky stars, he can tell. You may as well, far as you can go. You better run, 'cause I'm no fun. So your lucky stars, you better run, 'cause I'm no fun. So your lucky stars, you better run, 'cause I'm no fun. I'm listening to a lot of Walk Disco. They're probably one of my favourite bands right now. I'm good pals with Jack, the drummer, in that band. And I only got onto them recently, to be honest, but they're just fantastic. Like, honestly think they're releasing some of the best music in Scotland right now. They've got an album coming out on the 1st of April as well, I believe. I'm also listening to a lot of Confidence Man, a lot of Little Dragon as well. A lot of like very intensely pop stuff at the moment. I don't know if it's just because it's summer that makes me feel like that, but yeah, I think recently I've sort of felt like I want to experiment a lot more with like synths and, you know, digital like produced sounds, and kind of have less of like a live band sort of feel. And I feel like What Disco and those sorts of bands are definitely doing that. So yeah. So after I produced the first EP, um, I was kind of thinking about like what I wanted to do with it, if I just wanted to release it and kind of not really care, or if I wanted to, you know, do it with someone or release it on a physical format, or, you know, and so I came across this label that was just like suggested for me to follow, Corkscrew Records, and I saw they're like a bedroom pop label, um, based in Switzerland. So I shot over an email and I was like, I've got this EP, um, not really sure how I want to release it and stuff, but like if you're interested, have a listen. And Tanvi got back to me, who's amazing, by the way. You should definitely check out Corkscrew Records. There's a lot of good artists there. Um, and she said she loved it and she wanted to release it. So I was pretty happy about that. And then from then on out, it was just like we've been working together quite a bit. And I can't thank her enough for a lot of the press and stuff, and a lot of like, getting cassettes out as well for that EP was like a big dream of mine. Just to have like a physical format release. So we managed to do that, and they sold out pretty much as well. So really happy about that. And then I also released the album on Corkscrew Records in December last year. And she was a real big help with that as well. So yeah, it's a great wee label, and she's really, you can tell she really cares about the artists on there, and definitely wants to like put forward that kind of scene. And it's nice that, like, for me anyway, I've always been a bit scared of like the kind of formalities with music and like the industry sort of thing, but Tanvi's just like so lovely, and like every step of the way she's been so helpful. So yeah. So that song Heather I've had for quite a while. I wrote it in 2017 actually, but just kind of like thought it was bad, which happens quite often, to be honest. And kind of just like chucked it away in the book of songs that probably won't get recorded ever. And then I kind of took it out and started playing it again and kind of fell in love with it again. So um, I decided eventually that I wanted to record it, because I'm hopefully planning on recording an album this summer, which I can't really say a lot about, but um, I didn't think Heather really fit with the album, so I thought just it would be a good idea to release it as a single, because I think it's quite a good standalone song. Um, so yeah, I've booked in Chem 19 with Chris McCrory, who's like an amazing producer. He's produced Cheap Teeth, their last EP. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're incredible. And he's just such a lovely guy, so I'm very excited for that. Gonna have the full band in, and we've got 2 days, so the kind of it's just gonna be nice to have a lot more time to really think about like every part of the song and really configure what I want and take it in a much different direction. So it will definitely be out this year. That's all I can say at the moment. This song's called Heather. It's unreleased, but I'm gonna be in the studio in May recording it, with a good friend of mine, Chris McCrory. So hopefully this will be the next single. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. I suppose you will not be coming as you rock and roll. Right around the corner it'll take its toll. Will bite you if you let her, or yourself impose a meaning that you never. Oh, 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 a meaning that you never. Oh, 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 a meaning that you never. There's a world with you and I together. Every now and then I'll visit my old Heather. It gets very cold. The weather never changes, 'cause the mood's the same. Been frozen here for ages. Oh, 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 been frozen here for ages. Oh, 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 oh. I know you. Heather's cold sometimes. I feel fine, alright. Heather knows my life. I know cold. Sometimes I feel fine, alright. Heather knows my life. I suppose you'll not be counting as you rock and roll. Right around the corner it'll take its toll.